your question, who were my early spiritual influencers in my life and a bit about my journey. Um, I was raised in a small town in Andhra Pradesh called Vikarabad, and then eventually I moved to a city called Hyderabad. But being a small town, life was very simple and easy, with not much of influences that come with the modernization and urbanization. Um, and my early influences, I would say, as a child, I remember, my family was attached to one guru called Shiva Bala Yogi. He used to be based of Bangalore and originally from Andhra, but I think eventually settled in Bangalore. So we used to have his picture in our altar room, and the vibhuti that was provided. So I still remember as a child, every day in the night before going to bed, I used to take the vibhuti and apply to everybody's forehead, and say, may this protect you, and may you not have bad dreams and sleep very well. So just even connecting back to that, I feel there was something inside that I instantly connected to when it came to spirituality or God or divinity. Just as a kid, without having any knowledge, just being drawn to that. And later I remember there was one Swamiji who came to our small town. His name was Basavalingeshwara Swami. He was invited to a Shiva temple in our hometown, and I remember he doing all kinds of yogic feats and all of that with these beautiful lamps that he used to carry and do this Shiva Tandava, right? And I got really enthralled, like seeing the balance and power of concentration that he had by doing all these things in front of thousands of people and not losing balance, and with the fire in his hands, and then we used to have like multiple forms of fire in multiple forms of jyotis, doing all these feats. So that was again very fascinating. That these are the things that kind of imprinted in my mind as a child. And then as I became a teenager, I got influenced with the works of Swami Vivekananda, reading some of his books. And then some Jiddu Krishnamurti, some of it was clear, some of it was not clear. The words like consciousness, conscious, all this used to be like interesting, but I did not really make sense of that. So, but yet I used to read like, okay, there is something about, so I could see I was drawn into some of these at a very early age. And then as I got into university, I got introduced into Shirdi Sai Baba. So started following his work, reading Sai Satcharita. Was amazing experience. When I first read it, I still remember I had this blissful tears rolling through my eyes, and I was very deeply drawn, and I did this whole 7 days Parayanam of Satcharita. And then I moved to US after that for my higher education, for my research. And then life kind of started to take some interesting twists and turns and gone through some turmoil. So at that time, obviously, you were looking for answers and search for, what is my life? Why am I here? Why am I going through this suffering? Why am I going through these difficult phases in my life? And being in US, obviously, the immediate availability was some self-help books. So you reach out with all these modern self-help books, and then you're like, okay, it's nice, talking about self and empowerment and spiritual laws, and all of these were fascinating. But what I also realized they were all short-lived. They were like giving momentary kick. It's like, yes, feel good, but after a day or two, again, you get back into the routine of life, and then you are stuck again with the same questions, same turmoil, same emotional trauma. And I have even moved back to India for a couple of years, lived in Bangalore and visited different places, Himalayas. Again, touching all these different aspects of spirituality, reading through a little bit, but never being able to really get to the essence of it. And even though I was not aggressively looking for answers or experiences, I think subconsciously there was something going on, visiting temples, visiting ashrams, and all of this. And for I would say a divine plan and purpose, I was just moved to Vancouver from Bangalore, and within a couple of weeks, I have met this amazingly divine human being. I did not know about divinity at all at that time. I just thought another person. Her name is Sunita Amma. And I was told that she teaches yoga, some form of meditation called Sookshma meditation or Sookshma dhyana. And I said, okay, I'm going to try. And before that, I was practicing a bit of yoga, some pranayam, some breathing, which was helping me relax a little bit. So I thought, okay, it's probably, there are so many teachers out there that are doing it. So I was like, she's also from Andhra Pradesh, a Telugu speaking person. So I thought, okay, let me go. And I have done a session of meditation in her presence. And I was just blown away with that experience. What I have experienced was, for the first time, there was this complete stillness of the mind, as if the mind was just put on like some shackles and was just held like this. Usually, the mind wanders here and there. We know it goes into the past, it thinks about the future. And even in the present, it is carried away with what's going on in the present, distracted with a lot of stuff. But here, there was a situation where my body was completely still, mind was completely still. And I almost had what you call this transcendental experience of completely merging into something. And I didn't make sense of this at all. Like, I knew I was going through something, but I didn't know what it was. And I said, okay, fine. And then I went back after a few days for another session. And then again, same experience. And then I was doing some of those exercises that she taught, the Sookshma Kriyas, very subtle, simple things. What I realized is, what she has done is she has taken the essence of all this ancient yogic wisdom and simplified it for modern hectic lifestyle so that anyone can adopt. A lot of times, especially, people who are older, senior citizens, they think, oh my goodness, yoga is not for me. It's very complicated. All these are exercises that I cannot do. So what I've seen is she has taken the essence of all of that, simplified and giving it in a way that is easy to digest for this modern hectic lifestyle. And when I was again going back and I was again getting that same experience, and then 2 or 3 sessions, I realized something was going on. And even without realizing, I felt I was getting deeper and deeper into a state where I could experience the cellular level, beyond the cellular level. And I myself, coming from a background of medical science, studying it for 5.5 years on animals, obviously, as a veterinarian, I was like, what is going on here? Something was going on. And I was curious. The rational, scientific mind was very curious. And I also had illness at that time, certain illnesses, like I said, emotional turmoil, some worry, anxiety, depressive states. And I was getting out of all of that very quickly. And I was feeling this elation of joy, elation of bliss, I would say. We all go through happy moments. They fade off after time. You go through, pain, sadness. Again, they fade off. So you go through this roller coaster ride in your day-to-day life. But I've realized that after this experience, my experience was consistent, always in that state of elation, state of what you call bliss, and nothing would bother me around the world. And I felt like I have become a witness to everything rather than becoming involved with everything. And all of these later, I realized, are an experience of what they call awakening or realization of soul or Atma. And the interesting part is, Sunitama never talks about anything. She's a very silent person, very simple human being. She doesn't proclaim herself to be a guru or a master or a teacher. If you look at her, she'll be like an ordinary friend. And she wouldn't talk about all these great scriptures, elaborative lectures. Simple silence, come, experience, and say namaskaram and go. But after that, suddenly there was influx of all this ancient wisdom into my life. I started to receive, books and scriptures. I started to see, for the first time, the great Adi Shankaracharya's works, Viveka Chudamani, Atma Bodha. And as I was going through this, I was like just blown away because I'm experiencing what is written there. And the most important of that was what I call Aparokshanubhuti, the works of great Adi Shankara, where he actually talks about this experience is not pratyaksha or paroksha. Pratyaksha is what you experience right in front of you with the physical body. Paroksha is what you experience of what you've heard or listened through your mind. So the first experience is through the body, the second experience is through the mind, And then the third, which is aparokshanubhuti, is a direct inner experience. And that is when I started to relate everything together and say, oh, this is not ordinary what I was going through. And the best part was, for me, it was not, reading through scriptures, knowledge and trying to rationalize it, dissect it. It was first the experience, and then all of this scriptures and ancient texts confirmed and affirmed what I was going through.